The following broadcast is intended for mature audiences. These are real people sharing very real, deeply personal experiences. This content may be considered triggering for others and for those who are sharing. The chat room is a privilege intended for discussions and sharing. You are not being asked to agree, but you are being asked to stay civil and refrain from personal attacks. Listener discretion is advised. All right, thank you for coming back to Am I Mental? A weekly live podcast where real people share their stories about how mental health impacts life and life impacts mental health. I'm your host, E. With us, as always, are the co-hosts, Bexy.
Hello, everyone.
And C.
Hello.
And we made it. Season finale. Not only that, this is the final episode for year 2. So, unbelievable. We've made it that far. Now, before we get started, I want to throw in one more disclaimer because we are going to be talking about medications. And we're going to be talking about our personal experiences with them. This is not medical advice. We are not your doctor. Do not take what we say as a diagnosis or run with it yourself. By all means, go talk to your medical professional, whether it's a psychiatrist, psychologist, your general practitioner, whatever. Talk to them about it. If you hear something that you think might help you, talk to them. Let them figure it out. They know a hell of a lot more than we do. All I know is how I was affected by, like, say, Effexor. I think it's the fucking devil. It works perfectly for my wife. So just, keep that in mind. We are not medical professionals. That said, check out mimental.net. We do have a webmaster now who's taking care of us, making the look all nice and purdy and more unified between, computer, tablet, and phone, where before it looked nice, but it was a little off. And hopefully we'll get all the rest of the episodes up, because we're about a year behind now on the episode listings, but that should be easy enough to fix. And if you want to support us, by all means, go to mimental.net/donate. And there's a number of ways you could donate there. There's subscriptions if you want. There's single-time payments if you want, however you feel like doing it. And there's also the ability, if you want, to go and buy some merchandise. Go ahead and advertise for us. Wear our logo, t-shirts, tote bags, face masks. Even though all the mandates are going away, we still have them because not everyone wants to get rid of them, and that's totally fine. Whatever helps you, go for it. We also have die-cut stickers, hoodies, and if there's anything that you would like to see, let us know, and I can go ahead and get it designed. Now, without further ado, and no more delays, we have JB.
Yeah, I take some issue with the fact that you titled the episode JB Finally Makes It On.
Well, you pushed off twice. What do you expect?
I thought it was more than twice. All right, yeah, no, I mean, things happen, like life happens and shit. But
exactly.
I'm
of course, I'm going to give you a little bit of a hard time now.
Of course.
But I understand. You had friends come into town you hadn't seen in a long time. I'm not going to get in between you and your friendships.
Of course, and I appreciate that, but I love the fact that I love that we can finally get here now, and I love to thank you so much for letting me be a part of this, and thank you for letting me be your season finale. That's really
not
cool.
Only season finale, year finale. Because we do 4 seasons a year.
Wow.
We follow the seasons.
Oh wow, okay,
yeah.
Right on. Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, I'm glad to have you. And actually, it just seems like maybe it was meant to be that the Med Talk was going to be how we end the year of the podcast.
Yeah. Amen to that.
And you know what? Why not? We ended before on a season with the first season. If you remember, back when we had 45-minute episodes, surprised everyone with our special guest was someone I was plugging all year long, was a psychologist, and came on and talked about why they were in psychology and their methods, and then they actually did a session on me as a bonus episode.
Oh, wow, that's cool.
Yeah, so if you want to go check those out, it's Season 1, Episodes 10, and bonus episode 11.
And are those just available for everybody, or is that like a Patreon thing? Or okay.
No, we don't, no paywalls.
Oh, okay, awesome.
I mean,
that's cool.
I considered doing some paywall stuff where we would do like bonus episodes and stuff, but I was like, you know what? This is meant for helping people.
Yeah.
Putting stuff behind a paywall doesn't help people.
It's very true.
Exactly.
I totally agree.
So, yeah. No, so whatever money we get, we put right back into the podcast. The first thing that we got the first donation we got, we went ahead and we said, okay, no more 45-minute episodes, up to 3 hours. That's the next tier up. Huge difference.
That means I can talk really slow, right?
That means you can talk really slow.
All right.
About rib condoms that are ribbed for his pleasure.
Oh my God.
I should have waited a second longer so you're getting that drink.
Oh God, no. I spit it all over my microphone.
Oh. God, it's still be worth it. You have a nice microphone.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
So why don't you introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about yourself, and tell us what we're going to be talking about tonight.
Cool. So what's up, everybody? I'm going to go by JB tonight. Just kind of two random letters I picked out of the alphabet that just happen to coincide with my name, but I'm going to go with JB. And I worked with E for a while. Our former employer, we got to know each other by working in the same department, even though we were remote. But he's a really great guy, and I've had a lot of fun getting to know him and listening to this podcast and everything. But me personally, I worked for that former company for about 12 years. I'm an IT professional and also a musician, and run a recording studio, and I love scuba diving and taking cruises. I'm a Cancer. I like long walks on the beach, and yeah.
But do you like pina coladas and getting caught in the rain?
Yes, and getting caught in the rain. Yes, absolutely. Yes, but I'm not into yoga.
But do you have half a brain?
No, I've actually sometimes I feel like I have a quarter of a brain, but
well,
that's okay.
There's 4 1/4, so that's bigger than a half, right?
Wait, what? God, you're confusing me.
There's 4 quarters in a Super Bowl. That's why they brought 50 Cent out at halftime.
That's awesome.
I saw that on TikTok this morning. That was fun. That's funny as hell.
Although he looked more like a $1.50 now.
I saw now. I this might have just been Photoshop, but like, has 50 Cent or no, not like, was it 50 Cent or Dr. Dre that gained a bunch of weight?
Both.
It was 50.
But
Well,
50 really gained a lot of weight.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah,
all
I was almost
I
expecting.
didn't want to be judging.
Yeah, I was
I'm
almost
over here
expecting
with
him
my
to be
phone.
all. You'll find me in the club.
Oh my God.
He gets any bigger, he's going to be Tree Fitty, and the Loch Ness Monster's going to chase him.
Oh my God. Pretty soon, $1.
I'm in a mood. What can I say?
Nothing wrong with that.
So tonight, proper medication.
Yes. Yeah, meds are something that are. I'm not going to say they're new to me because I've been on them for a little while, but I feel like I was late to the game in a way, because I know that I've had anxiety and depression issues all my life, but I didn't get into. Excuse me, if I start coughing randomly, I promise I don't have COVID. I've taken like 4 tests so far, but
as long as you don't have over the internet COVID, we're okay.
I got the vaccine for that, so we're good. Because there's.
God, that would suck. Communicable diseases over the internet. Jesus.
Yeah, no kidding. But shit, I forgot what I was going to even say. But no, I'm if I start coughing randomly, I'll try to mute my microphone. But I don't even remember where I was going on the train of thought. But hey, that's okay.
Welcome
we were
to
talking about
medical.
You said that you felt late to the game, to the medication.
Oh yes, I'm sorry. Yes, thank you. So yeah, I mean, meds wise, I feel like I was late to the game because I started taking. I got on my first antidepressant in, let's just call it 2012. We'll just pick that as an arbitrary year. But this is something I've had to deal with all my life, and from various childhood experiences and various things I had to deal with growing up. I've always kind of had these sort of second-guessing myself and overthinking things and everything, and I never really did anything about it until I was actually working with E at the
that place.
That place that we worked with and did those things.
It was fun at first, but then became not so fun.
Yes, and it kind of brought me to a place where it brought out that anxiety and depression that I had sitting in my in my psyche. So I decided to talk to my general practitioner doctor, and I just said, "Hey, I think I need to get on something. I'm just not feeling like myself anymore." And I mean, this came from this company we worked for. They have all different types of positions. A former position I had caused me to have panic attack, where I got sent home a few times, and just a really, really, really tough situation. So, I talked to my general practitioner about it, and she said, yeah, I had no problem prescribing this to you, but are you seeing a therapist? I said, no. And I started seeing a therapist at that point, and that's kind of when I started on this whole game. But, the biggest benefit that I've noticed from taking these meds is that meds have made me feel like myself again.
And that is an awesome thing to say.
Yeah. I mean, because I remember the times when I was happy, and I remember the times when I felt great, and I remember the times when, everything was cool and nothing, I had no problems. And then, life happens, all this stuff happens, you got to work, you got to do all this stuff. And, it hits you in the place where you have to, obviously process all that stuff and deal with it. But then your emotions are basically being pulled at from a different angle also. And, all that negativity comes out, and also any kind of latent anxiety and depression come out. And it really takes over, and if I didn't get on my first medication, I honestly don't think I still would have been here. I feel like I would have, I just don't know what kind of path I would have taken. I don't think it would have been a good one.
Probably along the lines of what you're saying is me with a tub of water and a knife.
Yeah, exactly.
Aspirin. Do not do this, people. If you feel suicidal,
do not.
Get help.
Yes.
Suicide is a permanent solution to temporary problems.
Right, and if you feel like you need to do something, don't do anything. Pick up your phone, dial 1-800-273-8255. Once again, 1-800-273-8255. If you're in the United States, that's your National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. There are people there that will help, and they will be happy to talk to you.
Absolutely, they will.
So I mean, of course, with my anxiety being what it is, when I was talking to E about coming on here, I just started overthinking everything, and I'm thinking, what am I going to talk about? Am I going to have enough to talk about? Am I going to have enough to fill a certain amount of time? Am I going to be able to cover enough? My mind just didn't stop. And eventually I just had to kind of center myself and say, okay, hey, wait.
Really fast.
Number one.
Before this just popped up in front of me.
Yeah.
I just went onto the suicidepreventionlifeline.org.
Yeah.
Special announcement.
Ooh.
There's a new number rolling out nationwide. It's going to start in July 16th, 2022, and will eventually be nationwide. 988.
Oh, nice.
That's it.
That's awesome.
The Suicide 911 would be 988, so that's coming this year.
Oh,
that's awesome. I didn't know that. That's amazing. I'm hoping they keep the 800-273-8255. I'm sure that'll still work too.
I'm sure it will, at least for a while.
Yeah.
Because
988. That's cool.
That is awesome.
That is awesome.
that is
because
amazing.
As someone who, I have people that are very close and very dear to me that have battled with suicidal ideations and things, and I want nothing more than for them to get the help they need, and having resources like that is just an amazing thing. It's so nice to have that. So glad it's available.
Right, and you can also, if you don't want to talk on the phone, you can also text 741-741. Just text the word home, HOME, to 741-741, and you'll get help over text. Also, if you go to that suicide line webpage I mentioned earlier, they even have live chat. So
perfect.
There's a lot of ways to get help.
Yeah. I know some people I've talked to, they don't like talking on the phone, so I mean, at least there's those different options available to people.
Exactly. And I mean, yeah, I've walked that edge. I've walked on that cliff and nearly fallen myself. C had an episode on the air that we dealt with. Bexy's Bexy and I met basically because of it. So yeah,
Yeah, and
I'm fairly confident that suicide, at least the ideation, hits most people at least once in their life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's just, I guess, a matter of how you feel at the time and everything else going on in your life as to how heavily it's going to hit you and how far you might go with it. So, please, anybody listening to this, just know that there are so many other options available to you, and, there are always people that can help you. And right now, at this moment today, February 2022, you can call 800-273-8255. People will be there to help you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, in English or Spanish as well. So,
and also there's every nation, every Western nation so far, they have their own lifelines too. Like in Canada, you could also get it in French with their line. The UK has a line. Germany has a line. France has a line. Spain has a line. There's suicide hotlines pretty much worldwide.
Yeah, definitely. You are definitely not alone, I promise.
Like I've said heavily in previous episodes, and I'll repeat it again. Your situation is uniquely yours, and it could be so uniquely yours that it's the only time in all of human history that anyone has ever faced it. But there's only so many emotions people can feel, and we've all felt them. Yep. So when we say that you're not alone in how you feel. I may not understand the path that you're walking, but I understand the feelings that you're feeling.
Right. Absolutely.
Wow, we haven't hit this heavy in a while.
Whew. I'm gonna need a minute over here. But yeah. So should I get into what I got over here?
Yeah.
Okay, so I was trying to figure out how I was going to go about this, and originally I was going to do top 5 things to know about meds, but I'm like, that's kind of a little cheesy. But
Number 5.
Yeah, in no specific.
Don't stop. Number 4. Stay in communication with your psychiatrist.
Yeah.
Number 3.
All right, you're stealing my thunder, so.
I'm sorry, I had to do it.
No, that's exactly what one of my many thoughts was, But I was thinking of a whole bunch of these things, and I'm like, and I got just a list of stuff, and I'm going to talk about my experience and my sort of things that I thought were like, what it is? It's things I wish someone else told me that was sort of a sage with meds, because obviously you talk to your doctor, you talk to your, my medication is handled by a nurse practitioner, but you talk to your provider, and they're just like, oh, how is this? How are you feeling? Is everything okay? You want to change anything? It's just pretty clinical and kind of by the book, and just a couple steps here and there.
And they'll tell you the importance of don't skip doses. If you skip a dose, some meds, like, okay, double the next one, or don't fucking double it,
Right, exactly. But they're going to handle, the clinical approach to it,
Right.
But, I would love, I wish I had been able to talk to somebody that's kind of like a sage, an old wizard that had, or old person that had been taking these meds forever and say, here's things to know, So that's kind of what I want to do in my appearance on you guys' show is
back in my day, all we had was Prozac and you liked it.
I want to I'd like to pass along some sage wisdom to anyone that's either on medication, thinking about going on medication, or, having any doubts about medication. I just kind of want to share some things with you, share a couple of, things that have kind of helped me get through, talk about some of my experiences. And also I'm happy to talk about which meds I've been on. I'm happy to talk about that, and just kind of like to echo what you said in the very beginning. We are not giving out medical advice. We are not doctors. We are not nurses. We are not nurse practitioners. We have had no medical training. So this is not medical advice in any way. You may hear, we're going to be talking about names of, medications and stuff like that. If you hear something you want to talk about, talk to your medication provider, talk to your doctor about it. They will know a heck of a lot more than we will.
Now,
but
if you're in the chat and you want to know how it affected us, and you want details about how we felt the other time, well, yeah, we will talk about that.
Absolutely.
That's what we're here for.
If I say, hey, I'm on 20, if I say, hey, I'm on 20, I was trying to get that out, and it was like this cough waiting to go. If I say, hey, I'm on 20 milligrams of Lexapro, it doesn't mean that you need to call your doctor and be like, yes, I need 20 milligrams of Lexapro, please.
Why? Well, it makes JB feel good, so it's got to work for me, right? Well, it doesn't work like that.
Exactly.
Like I said earlier, Effexor for me is the fucking devil. For my wife, it's a godsend.
Same here, and I'm going to talk about Effexor a little bit later because Effexor for me was the worst I'd ever been on.
Yeah, and I'm sure that Steve will probably jump in a little bit with their experience. Bexy will probably jump in with her experience. This is something we all relate to, and it's like for me personally, I was very medication hesitant because I was afraid I was going to lose myself. That it was going to be the meds talking and not me. That was a very real fear of mine. And then I was like, well, maybe if I could just do it temporarily, I could, adjust my own brain personally. No, I have a chemical imbalance. That's perfect.
Exactly. And, it's interesting you put it that way because, like, a lot of people they kind of have that same worry about, taking meds and becoming catatonic or taking meds and, like, having it really overly affect you. But the opposite is really what happens. Like the meds actually help you regain your I call it mental fortitude. Like, it kind of gives you back that control that you're losing when you don't have it. When your brain is left to do whatever it wants with the chemicals imbalanced the way they are, it's going to mess with you. It's going to cause you problems, it's going to cause you pain, it's going to be an obstacle for you. Whereas, when you take these medications, it's going to help to balance that, not make that such an issue, and give you back that mental control over everything that you are losing without it.
And one way I like to put it, it's like, you remember when you were a kid and you knew it was Saturday morning, the cartoons were on, you got out of bed in a flash. You woke up and like your eyes sprung open, the blankets were in the air, and you were already in front of the TV by the time the blanket settled. Wouldn't it be great to feel like that again? Now, I'm not saying that the meds make me feel like that, but it sure the hell beats I wake up and I'm like, I'm just going to lay in bed and die today.
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, I get up and I'm like, fuck, I guess I should get up and go do shit. And I actually get up and I go do shit and I feel better about myself. And it's like, okay, you know what? This isn't so bad. I'm a functioning person again. I'm not laying in bed emotionally beating myself up as a worthless piece of shit, human filth garbage that's incapable of doing anything. I mean, my fucking God, when was the last time I took out the garbage? When was the last time I did laundry? Speaking of which, when was the last time I brushed my fucking teeth or even washed my hair? I'm just going to stay in this bed until the sheets deteriorate around me. I am filth. The world will be better without me. And that's how I felt when I wasn't medicated.
I can relate to most of that.
Yeah. So
can I?
Medicated? Hey, the garbage is taken out. I brush my teeth. I shower. I am not a worthless piece of filth and garbage. I even got my shit together enough to go, you know what? Let's start a podcast.
There you go. Yeah, that's actually one of the sort of little tidbits I have is, because I've spoken to some people that are not on any kind of medication. They're like, well, when you take your pills, are you just happy? And, I tell them, I said, no, there's no instant happy pills. Medications are just a tool that will help you manage your mental health and give you back that control that we were talking about over your emotions, your anxiety, your depression, that is coming up as a result of the chemical imbalance, because that's exactly all it is. It's just chemicals that are not balanced correctly in your brain, and none of that is your fault, by the way. Don't blame yourself for feeling like something's wrong or something's different about your mind. You didn't intentionally do that. I didn't intentionally wake up one day and saying, I'm going to be anxious. It's just something that happened in my brain, and that's just something that happens in your brain. So, don't blame yourself for that, for that being the case, And honestly, like, that being said, there's nothing at all wrong with taking meds. I know some people they kind of look at it as taboo, or they're like, if I take...
There's a stigma around it.
Definitely.
Some people say, like, hey, if I take meds, it means that I'm crazy. Like, no, it doesn't. There's nothing that I mean, first of all, it doesn't matter to anybody else. You know, what's happening with you and what's happening with your mind and your individual health and your individual care is all you and you alone. It doesn't matter what meds you're taking, how much of it you're taking. You know, I'm on a number of, I take, like, every morning I take 4 pills. 3 of them are mental health pills. And I have no shame in that. I have no problem talking about it, because they help me feel like me. And
exactly.
If I didn't take those, and I'll get into this a little bit later, but if I didn't take those, I would not be me. I would not feel as comfortable as I am. I would not be as happy as I am. I would not feel like myself. And, that's something I miss dearly, because I remember what it feels like when I don't have that. And it's a place I never want to be again. I never want to be there again,
And if you ever want to be there again and go worse than that, go cold turkey for a week.
Oh, God.
Oh, yeah.
Don't even remind me.
See? Yeah. And it's like every one of us at one point either did it willingly or accidentally. But
Right.
I don't know of anybody who's been absolutely perfect forever on their beds. And sometimes it's just a supply issue. Hey, sorry, we don't have any. Well, what the fuck am I going to do?
Right. And I mean, and luckily, most of these meds, you can miss like 1 dose, maybe 2. But like if you miss, 1 or 2 here and there, you're going to be okay as long as you just take your regular dose the next time. Obviously, if your provider tells you anything different, you do that. But
yeah, if your provider tells you double up.
Yeah, but they're going to be the ones that are going to give you that guidance. But you don't want to kind of take things into your own hands and do that. But and actually, that kind of segues into my second point, which is your openness and your openness with your medication provider is just as important as the meds themselves.
Absolutely.
Nothing is perfect. I went on one website, which I want to come back to this in a minute. There was a list of like over 50 different meds and, meds with different names and all this stuff. Like there's a lot of different things out there, and your medication provider is going to be the best person to tell you what may be right for you. But it is not an exact science. So, when you go, like, let's say you go to talk to your medication provider and you say, hey, something's not quite right, or maybe you're not on any meds, and you want to talk to your general practitioner and say, hey, I'd like to get on some kind of an antidepressant or anti-anxiety med. There's over 50 different ones out there, and that doesn't even include ones that are not purpose made for mental health. There's tons of them out there. So it's their job to give you the right medication, the right dosage and everything.
And then that's why they're going to hand you here, fill out this form and be as honest as possible and ask you a million questions. Because they're trying to determine, are you imbalanced one way or the other way? Or is it a different type of imbalance? Because, like, as an example, like 2 categories that are the most common are the SSRIs and the SNRIs. The SSRIs were the serotonin...
selective
serotonin
reuptake inhibitor, yeah.
So it allows your brain to keep more serotonin, which keeps you happier. But if you already have too much serotonin and you use one of those, and that too much serotonin is what your imbalance is, it's just going to get worse.
Right.
And the SNRI is the opposite. It tells your brain, soak up the serotonin because you have too much.
Right.
And obviously I don't have enough, because when I took Effexor, which is an SNRI... I wish someone would have killed me. I was so miserable.
I have stories about Effexor, which I'm going to get to in a minute here, but Effexor was at my worst time in my life. I was on Effexor, and but let me just make sure. Okay, so yeah, I mean, like I said, nothing's perfect. They may not get it right the first time. You got to trust the process, and
don't expect to feel perfect every day.
You won't.
No, it's really more about, like, it takes the edge off is a good way of really looking at it. It makes your lows not so low, your highs not so high, and it makes the swings more spread out.
Yes, and like I always tell people, it gives you back the control over your emotions and over your thoughts that you lose with the imbalance of chemicals in your brain.
Now, a great little saying I learned when I went to the anxiety treatment center, and it was one that was said like a mantra there, but it's true, is I have mental health issues.
Right.
Mental health issues don't have me.
I like that.
I'm the one in control. Yeah, there are times that they feel like a horse trying to drag me somewhere. But if you've ever dealt with horses that are not wild horses, even though they are way bigger than you, and they can be very intimidating, you grab those reins and you force your will, the horse will follow.
Yep.
And that's a lot of how mental health issues can be. And without the meds, you're trying to coax the horse. You don't have any reins. You can't grab any part of the horse to get it under control. You're trying to just convince it.
Right. That's a great analogy. It's almost like, like you have a horse, no saddle, no reins, no nothing, and you're just sitting on it, with just you on the horse and that's it. And you're trying to like convince the horse with like petting it or whatever. It's like, oh, it's okay. It's fine. The horse is going to just buck and do whatever the heck it wants to.
Yeah. It's going to keep its head in the feed trough.
Right. Right. Exactly.
And that's actually, I actually went through equine therapy. So that way it was physically, that's what you did. You set up an obstacle course and you brought the horse through and you described what the different obstacles were to represent.
Interesting.
And like I did one where I had just a bunch of cones where I was slaloming through it, and then I had one cone way off to the side. It's like, this is my normal day. Get up, eat breakfast, do this, do that. Oh, it's that time of year. I have to go to the DMV. Well, there's that one that's way off in the distance, and fuck me. Well, I got to take the horse out there anyway.
Yeah.
And there were days that the horse was ornery. So,
Right.
But yeah, that's why it's a great analogy. And then to be able to actually physically do it with the horse, it really kind of puts it in perspective. Even though it could feel bigger than you, ultimately you have control.
Exactly. And that's kind of one of the things I was going to say too, is like self-awareness is huge. And when you get on I call it a cocktail, but when you get on a good cocktail of meds, you gain so much more self-awareness, which is such a big deal, because you know how you feel when the cocktail is right. You know how you feel when you've got a good, medication group going. Then you know how you feel when things are off, because that's the tale of Effexor with me. So, I forget what I was on prior to that. I'm just going to read a bunch of things like, just for fun, whatever. So I'm just going to read a list of meds that I've tried or I've been on. I've tried Lexapro, Effexor, Viagra, hydroxyzine, Wellbutrin, Seroquel, Trazodone, Abilify, Buspirone, Xanax, and Klonopin. Those are all. I was not on all those at the same time. Good Lord.
God. Jesus.
Yeah, good Lord.
Right.
Some of those are heavy, but
it's like, why is JB just laying there foaming at the mouth? He tried them all at once.
Oh yeah, that's because I got my Xanax, Klonopin, and Seroquel at the same time. Exactly. Yeah, no, but
Xanax is no good for me. Alcoholism runs in my family, and Xanax hits the alcohol triggers in your brain.
It's funny, Xanax didn't work for me. It did nothing for me.
Which is why. So I tried Xanax, and then that's why I ultimately went to Visceral, because I was like, after my doctor told me that, I was like, so you're giving someone with a very strong family history of alcoholism, including immediate family alcoholics, something that triggers alcohol triggers in the brain. I don't think that's a good idea. They're like, yeah, I don't think that's a good idea either. Let's try something completely different. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I mean, that was kind of how I came between Xanax and Klonopin, because I know that I was prescribed Xanax for like the in the moment panic attacks that I would have, and I would take it and I wouldn't feel any better. So, then I knew a friend of mine that had Klonopin, and I said, how do you like it? Does it work well for you? He said, oh, it's great. So then I talked about it with my provider, and I just said, a friend of mine takes Klonopin. Do you think that would be good for me? She said, sure, I'll give you a low dose. Turns out it's fantastic. I don't take it every day. I think I average maybe 2 or 3 a month. Like when I have like a panic attack or I feel like I really need it, I'll take it, relax a little bit, and I feel much better.
It's like I've heard stories about a guy who takes one Adderall a year.
Oh, wow.
Tax day.
That's a good reason to take it.
He has low-level ADHD, but he needs to seriously hyper-focus for 1 day a year, and that's when he takes it.
I got you.
I was like, that's a good way of using it. That's definitely not abusing in any way, shape, or form.
No, I mean,
Adderall is addictive. So, yeah.
Right, and it's pretty heavy, too, isn't it?
It can be. Like, I was on Adderall XR, for extended release for a while.
Right. Yeah.
They only come in, 4 different doses. It's borderline methamphetamine. I'm not even going to lie. In the name, it does have the methylated whatever. It's... And actually, something that a lot of people don't realize, at least in California, and probably in other states as well, you can be prescribed methamphetamine. It's very few, very far in between, and only in the most critical of needs. But it is possible. Where, even the highest doses of Adderall don't do it. That's when they start looking at things like, okay, well, let's try crystal meth.
Wow. I mean, because I know they have medicinal and medical marijuana, so I guess there's medicinal meth, too?
Yep, there's also medicinal cocaine. They use it all the time in surgery.
Psychedelics?
I could see that.
It's a very good numbing agent, and if you've ever been under, depending on the surgery, there's a good chance that you probably have had medicinal cocaine because of its numbing and pain control. But there's only used during surgery. You don't get it after the fact.
Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't want it, to be honest, but speaking of some of the, you mentioned the names of some of these, I went on there's a great website, by the way, NAMI.org, N-A-M-I, it's National Alliance on Mental Illness. There's such great information on there. I actually found some local Zoom meetings and Zoom groups where you can sign up for weekly, bi-weekly, just group meetings to talk about, mental health issues that are going on with you and how you're dealing with it. But they have a section on their website with types of medication. I don't know about you, but I wonder how the hell do they come up with names of these things? Okay, I'm going to just pick a few out of this. There's 60 something in this list. I'm going to pick a few of these that are just ridiculous. Let's see. There was one that I was looking Austedo, which is the name brand. I'm literally trying to pronounce it as I'm reading it. Deutetrabenazine. How do they come up with the names for this shit?
They do. It's basically they're giving you the actual the formula without actually the formulation itself.
Okay.
Propane, for example. It means 3 carbon, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 hydrogen. Butane is 2 carbon, 6 hydrogen. Octane is 8 carbon.
And you know this how?
Chemistry.
Oh, okay.
So, when they give you that, that.
But wait, if I were to tell me about Brexpiprazole.
That I couldn't really tell you because I'm not a biochemist. I took literally college entry level chemistry, and that was so long ago.
I'm just reading some of these, and carbamazepine. Just some of the names of these things are just ridiculous. I just find it hilarious. To look at some of the names of I'm talking about the generics. Oh geez, I don't even know how to do this one. Tranylcyprine. Yeah, tranylcyprine, which is the generic of Parnate. I don't know, Parnate. I don't know, but there's some just wacky ass names with this shit.
Well, then there's sildenafil.
I know what that is.
You know what that is?
Viagra.
Yep.
And tadalafil is Cialis.
Yep.
Don't ask me how I know. Anyway.
Turns out that Facebook Messenger does have a jail. Ask how I know.
Maybe that's for later in the show.
Yeah, basically, I've been permanently banned from Twitter. IP banned.
Why? Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that's what VPNs are for, man.
Yeah. But I need a phone number for it, too, and I don't have another phone number, and I just don't get one. I just don't care.
Google Voice.
They actually won't let you use Google Voice.
Oh, dang it. Okay.
Yeah.
I
got permanently banned from Reddit.
How do you get banned from Reddit of all places? I feel like it's like
Reddit is basically Facebook Lite anymore. Actually,
by the way, I
it's
want
more
to give
Twitter than Facebook.
I want to give a shout out to my buddy Ricky. He's listening. He's listening in. I don't know if he's in the chat, but he says, "I love this show."
Thank you, Ricky. Come on, keep listening. And if you ever want to be a guest, we're about to start booking again.
He then just sent me a picture of Kit from Knight Rider. So I'm like, you bitch. He may not even be listening to us. He says, I love this show. I am live on a show right now, so I assume that's what he's talking about. Then he sends me a picture of Kit. So,
you know what?
Okay.
I am going to put in our Discord a screenshot of the banner on Reddit that says I am permanently banned.
I want to see that. So one of the other things I had on my little list here is, we talked about there's no instant happy pills. There's no, you got to talk to your medication providers. Nothing wrong with taking meds. You also need to stay on top of your medication schedule. Take your meds on time. Now, it can be confusing when you have different dosages. You have, one of these in the morning, one of these at night, half of this during the day, blah, blah, blah. You can certainly come up with your own way of organizing it. I use one of those pill organizers that has like morning, afternoon, evening, and night, so helpful. It's incredible. And that's really worked for me. And then like, I kind of have it on my personal calendar. I have a reminder every Friday. I break out all the bottles and I reload it for next week. Now he sent me a picture of David Hasselhoff. Thank you very much. Okay.
All right, so I just posted it on Discord.
Like, I need to see that right now. Can you send it to me in Facebook? I don't think I have Discord on this computer. But yeah, so, stay on top of your med schedule. Take them when you're supposed to. The one nice thing about doing the whole like planning in advance type of thing is you can be ahead of the game on if you're running out. So if you're running low on your meds, you don't want to run out next week. If you're loading up your pill organizer, and if you say, okay, I've got everything good for next week and I have one pill left, reach out to your provider. Unless your pharmacy has a refill on file, you could do that. But it lets you stay ahead of your refills, so you make sure you have enough meds on hand. So,
and there are times that there will be shortages, and you don't want to be on the wrong side of a shortage.
Exactly.
There was one particular med that I was on at a time that it was a shortage. It was 6 months.
Oof.
Yeah, I went with a different med.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
And that ain't working for me.
Yeah, some medications even take a few days to take effect, or like a week or two before you start to have the effects. So, try your best not to miss too many of those, or you might have to restart your dosage, your use of that med. You might have to start it all over again.
And some of them, when they say start over, it means here's this little package. There's like these two you take first at the lowest dose, and then you take this one for a little while, which is the next dose. You have to ramp up to it.
Right, and like that was what it was from when I did Vibrid, which I tried Vibrid, or I was prescribed Vibrid as I think it was after Lexapro, because Lexapro started to not be as effective for me. So my doctor he's like, oh, we have this new med called Vibrid. I'm like, I don't know what the hell that is, so I'll just try it. I was open to anything, and it literally did nothing, but it made me feel strange. I can't really describe how it made me feel. It was just an odd feeling medication. So, I didn't like it at all, but it came in one of those big like cardboard things that had a 30 days supply worth. And it was, 1 for 5 days, 2 for 5 days, whatever. It had it all broken out and everything.
Right.
But, but yeah, certain things like, if you're taking like, fluoxetine, which is Prozac, or if you're on, there's another one, a friend of mine was on it, but like,
I'm on duloxetine and hydroxyzine.
What is it? Dulox? Oh, I don't have that one. That's not on this. Oh, Cymbalta. Okay.
Yep. Oh, no.
I've heard.
Yeah, Cymbalta.
I've heard good things about that. Okay. So there's that. Okay, another one is, you should know how your medications are going to affect you before you do anything significant, like working out, driving, operating heavy machinery, because I know everybody listening to this operates forklifts every day. So
I drive a tank to work every day, so you know.
There you go. You should know how your medications are going to affect you before you do anything like that. So, if you know that, for example, if you know that a certain med is going to make you feel drowsy, maybe plan to take it at night. When I started on Seroquel, I took it in the morning. That was a horrible idea. So, because Seroquel knocks me the hell out, quetiapine. So, I take that at night now, so it helps me sleep. I'll wake up today, everything's fine. So, know how your meds are going to affect you before you drive, before you work or work out, anything like that. Just, if you're going to start a new medication, try and do so at a point where you can spare a day or two or three or a week or whatever before you have to do anything major, just to make sure you're going to be okay with how it affects you.
Absolutely.
The other thing is, and I mean, I'm not a religious person, but like I believe in there's some wisdom that comes from certain religions. I definitely don't want to get into that as a topic, but there's the whole.
I'm spiritual. I'm not religious.
Right on. But like the whole, I'm a big believer in the phrase "idle hands are the devil's workshop," and I kind of think that idle minds are anxiety and depression's workshop. So, like, if you and this was a big deal for me when I was on Effexor, I noticed it especially. But if I didn't keep myself busy, I would sit there and ruminate. Like my mind would just go ape shit on me. And I would just keep thinking about all kinds of crap that was going on. My mind would go nuts, start thinking about all these things that were completely untrue and completely irrelevant. And, my anxiety would take over. And if I would actually distract myself, if I would do something, whether it's go outside, take a walk, take a drive, I mean, not necessarily get behind the wheel, but, take a drive someplace if I feel up to it, take a walk, maybe come up to my studio, play some drums, listen to some music, distract myself. Because even if you're on meds and you've got a great cocktail, you got a great meds thing going on, even if you're not doing anything, it's giving your brain and giving your mind free rein to try to mess with you. So even the
so basically what you're saying is the brain is evil and we need to kill it.
Yes. No.
Totally not.
Yeah, no, not at all. But even if you're medicated and you've got a great cocktail, you got a great bit of medication going for you, you should still keep yourself busy, because number one, it'll help you develop health. It'll help you, it'll help you kind of like come up with things to do, maybe discover a new hobby, or, bring out a hobby that you haven't done before, and maybe something you really enjoy, but, keep your mind occupied so that the meds will do the most work for you that way. If you just take the meds and sit down by the TV with the TV off and just think, or just let your brain go nuts, you are not going to be getting the best out of what those meds are going to do for you, because your brain is just going to take over.
And again, this isn't necessarily the same experience for everybody.
Exactly. I mean, I'm just talking about what it was like.
For me, like if I'm properly medicated, there are days where it's dangerous for me to sit idly, and there's other times I can sit idly and I just start thinking about like, I want to make a Dungeons and Dragons campaign. What can I do with that? I start thinking creatively, which is great. But yeah, you need to, when you first start out, you're not going to have that resiliency. You're just not.
Yeah.
You probably have gone years having no resiliency. You've just been beaten down by your conditions.
Exactly. And honestly,
don't expect the meds to give you that resiliency. The resiliency comes with time.
It comes with time, and it comes with using the right meds and the right dosage, and using them as a tool and not using them as a catch-all or as like a instant happy pill. Because that doesn't exist. And that loss of control is what I felt when I was on Effexor. So Effexor or venlafaxine is the generic. I took that. It worked great for about, I don't know, maybe a month, or 5 weeks. Like, it worked pretty good for a while. And I'm like, wow, this is actually pretty nice. But then it started to go downhill from there, and it stopped being effective. And at that same time, it was coinciding with when I was starting a new relationship. And as the med was wearing off, the person I was in the relationship with, it wasn't the right time anyway, so it wasn't a good idea anyway. But, it was just spiraling down. My mental state would spiral down. I would be, extremely emotional, extremely panicky, like everything was just extreme, because I feel like it was my brain fighting back, saying, hey, you took all those meds all these years, and now this is, you have something in your system that's not doing anything. We're now going to, wreak havoc on you and take our revenge. And, I would be driving home from dropping my date off. I'd be driving home, 80 miles an hour on the highway, say, I wonder what it would be like to crash into this light pole.
I know that one quite well.
Yep. It would just come to me as a casual thought. And I'm like, when that started happening, I was like, oh no, because I had that self-awareness, and I was like, I know it's not me. I know that's not how I really feel. I know it's the imbalance in my brain and the chemical imbalance that's saying these things, and that's making me think these things.
Yeah, but good luck telling that to the irrational emotional side.
I know. I mean, that's kind of why earlier I was saying, like, if you can build that self-awareness, it's gonna really help you. It could save your life, honestly.
Yeah.
But that there was another time. This is gonna be a total out of left field comment, but just bear with me. I'm big into firearms. Like, I have a gun collection. So when this was all happening, I would be sitting at home, and I would just get this sort of mental vision of me sitting with one of my guns and my hand on it, sitting on the couch, just sitting there with a loaded gun next to me. I never was actually in that situation, but I kept imagining it. It freaked me the fuck out. It freaked me out. And when that happened, I was getting these ideations, but I never acted on it. And I never had like the impetus to act on it, the desire to act on it. But, when that started happening, that's when I reached out to my medication provider, and I said, listen, I have an emergency. I said, my meds are not working anymore. I need to go back to something I know. And that's actually when I went back on Lexapro. And as soon as I got back on Lexapro, it was like, all right.
And even a med that may not be the most effective for you, if it's better than nothing, go back to that. You can always try something else.
Yeah, and that's the other thing too. There are some like there's some like bonus meds you can that your provider can put on there. For me, like I'm on Lexapro, Wellbutrin, and I forget what the other one is, but like she's got me on Lexapro's, my primary antidepressant. I've got Wellbutrin, but I also I used to take Abilify, which was like a little like helper pick me up kind of thing. She took me off of that, and I've been fine. But sometimes your provider may mix and match, or add a couple of things that may work well together to help kind of craft that perfect cocktail of medications for you. That's why you always want to talk to your medication provider. If you're feeling different, feeling weird, something's not working, talk about it, because they, like I said, there's just on that one website alone, I read a list of, I think it was 61 names of different meds, and there's other stuff on there that's not even listed that might be, a blood pressure medication that also has some sort of like antidepressant.
Well, character. My, the duloxetine, the Cymbalta, it's a nerve pain medication, mainly for like diabetic nerve pain.
Oh, wow.
But guess what? It works great as an antidepressant too.
That's awesome.
Hydroxyzine.
Okay.
Hydroxyzine is an antihistamine that's also really good at managing anxiety.
Yeah, and that's amazing.
My permanent nerve damage on the tops of my legs, thanks to some severe sunburns, I don't feel it anymore. And my allergies are gone.
It's like bonus, like multiple bonuses here. And like, it's funny because I live in Central Texas. So like we, during this time of year, like January, February, March, there's a lot of cedar trees around the area. And like, I guess they're pollinating or releasing their stuff into the air. So
here it's cherry trees.
Okay. Yeah. So like, here we call it cedar fever, and anybody with allergies is going to be miserable. So like, and I myself am still miserable. Like, but one of the meds I take at night, in addition to hydroxyzine, I take a med called Singular. That has been amazing, but it's very sedative. So like, I take it at night because it helps me sleep. But but yeah, sometimes these meds will have like additional benefits. Like, let me see how I can say this without embarrassing myself too much. One of the side effects of Lexapro actually is a benefit for me when it comes to the bedroom. I'll just put it there. I'm going to leave it at that. And,
I can last forever!
If only. But,
that was Paxil for me.
Oh, interesting.
But
okay.
It's like I could get up. I could not get off. Could not.
Interesting. Okay.
You talk about mental health issues. Try not being able to get off.
Yeah, talk about emasculating, right?
Oh my God! It's like, I could go all night because I can't.
Oh God, there's nothing worse. There is absolutely nothing worse. But yeah. So I mean, Lexapro, I started calling it Sexy Lexi because it helped me do better in bed. So there we go.
Nice.
All right. Anyway, let me see. What else do I have on my little list here? Okay. So kind of changing gears a little bit. I know that this isn't your real thing, E, but if any of you guys are into musicals at all, or are you willing to check out some good...
I'm the rare musician that's not all that into musicals.
That's all right. That's right. I mean, because there's the stigma, or there's like that, for those that are not into it or those that don't enjoy it, they might have this opinion where, musicals are like, yes, here we go. It's some like crazy, cheesy, whatever. Can't believe I did that on recording, but, a lot of the newer musicals, like things that were written kind of like post 2000, they really go away from that, and they're a lot more contemporary, and they have a lot better songs.
I love Moulin Rouge, and that's a musical.
Yep.
Hands down, that's a musical. I love that movie.
Absolutely.
I love South Park, the movie. It's a fucking musical.
Yeah? Oh, yeah.
Kyle's Mom's a Big Fat Bitch is just one of the better songs.
There you go. Or, hey, what about Team America World Police?
Oh, fuck yeah.
America, and America, fuck yeah!
America, fuck yeah!
I post that on my Facebook every July 4th. I'm like, America, fuck yeah! But yeah, there's two musicals that I think are really worth looking at.
I'm wondering if you're going to name the one that May just dropped in the comments.
Hold on, let me look at the comments.
No. See if you name it.
Okay. So the first one is not that, but the first one I'm gonna recommend is called Next to Normal. It's basically about a family who's dealing with certain struggles and certain things that are going on, but the mother, the wife, has significant mental illness, and they kind of like go through and talk about what that mental illness is, and how how they deal with it. But like one of the songs is actually called "My Psychopharmacologist and I," and it's sung by the.
Okay, I love the name of that right there.
Yeah, it's sung by the wife and her doctor, and I was watching this show before I came on here, and part of the song is actually people singing the names of medications in 2-part harmony. I'm like, that's hilarious, but It's a brilliant show. It's fantastic. I love it. I think it's a great thing to watch if you want to kind of check out a way to, again, keep your mind busy. Maybe, check out some musicals. But the other one is Dear Evan Hansen.
That's the one that May listed.
That's one of my all-time favorite musicals. I saw it. I want to give a shout out to Stephen Christopher Anthony, who plays Evan Hansen in the touring production. He's probably never going to hear this, but hey, if he does, hi. Anyway.
Who knows? He might hear this one day on a replay years down the road.
Yeah, there we go.
Maybe.
He was incredible. I saw him in Fort Worth. He was amazing. But that's a movie I think everyone should watch. Anyone listening to this podcast, I think you should watch the Dear Evan Hansen movie. The music from that is absolutely fantastic. It was written specifically about these types of issues. And the main character, Evan Hansen, has very heavy, very, very intense social anxiety. And, he struggles with a lot of that. And a couple of songs in the show talk about how he kind of struggles with these things, overthinks a lot of things. His mind really kind of gets the better of him. But, there's also some incredible songs in there that bring a lot of hope and a lot of positivity that I think everyone needs to be familiar with, because I think if you're feeling really low, you're feeling like, you're feeling pretty crappy, put on the soundtrack or put on the movie. Like I listened to a song called You Will Be Found, and the first time I heard it made me cry, but it's, the whole point of that song is you are not alone. And, no matter what, no matter how bad things may be, you will be found. Someone will be there for you. Someone will. Oh, I love Waving Through a Window. That's actually the song I listened to before I...
I was just going to say, May just said that Waving Through the Window is their shower/cry it out song.
Oh my God. I love that. I love Waving Through a Window. I love You Will Be Found. I also love Words Fail. I don't know why, but it's so just
the irony of a song that's effective called Words Fail.
Yes.
Just leaving that there.
Yeah. I mean, basically the gist being, I don't want to spoil the plot or anything, but, Evan has, he has his social anxieties and everything. Something happens. He gets involved. Something gets to a certain person that shouldn't be there. And he has to sort of clean up the mess, but he doesn't want... That's weird. My microphone just fell from
the I saw that.
He doesn't want to offend anybody. He doesn't want to upset anybody, but he also doesn't know what to do because he is paralyzed by his anxiety. So, it's just incredible. I think everyone needs to buy it or watch it. I'm sorry, watch it on iTunes or buy the movie. Please buy the movie. But it's. It won 6 or 7 Tonys. Tonys are the Oscars for plays, but it won a whole bunch of Tony Awards and very, very, very well deserved.
That's awesome.
Yeah, but as far as you, I'm trying to say, hold on, I've got 8,300 windows open. As far as the other show I was talking about, Next to Normal, you can find some bootlegs of it on YouTube. There's 2018 from, I want to say it was Brown University put it on. That's the one I was watching before I connected up here with you guys. But that's one of the better looking ones. There's a few bootlegs of the Broadway recordings, but they're from 2009. So, all the fabulously high definition camera gear, available then just didn't cut it. So I would look for that 2018 Next to Normal. It's so far it's pretty good. I haven't gotten to the end of Act 1 yet, but it's pretty good performance of it.
Nice.
Yeah.
It is actually surprising just how powerful movies really can be.
Yeah.
I can't say that I can't really think of very many movies off the top of my head that I've watched specifically about mental health that impacted me because I can't think of any. But there are a lot of movies that have just been powerful that just impacted me in general.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
I hate saying it because it's so fucking cliche. The goddamn Notebook.
I've actually never seen The Notebook.
It makes me fucking cry. Every goddamn time. It's so good. Nicholas Sparks, every book's the same, every story's the same, but this is his best representation of it. The dick. Nicholas Sparks. You got me on that one. And I've also really enjoyed The Lucky One. That one was really good. I didn't cry on that one, though.
I never saw it. I wouldn't either.
That was when, I remember Zac Efron from his Disney days.
Hmm.
This was Zac Efron, looks like a fucking Marine. I'm like, who is this guy?
I need to take the name of this down. What's the name of that movie again? No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, and you know what? In the movie, I think he was an ex-Marine, too.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, he went from that little, like, oh my god, you're just going to be that little boy forever, to, holy shit, dude, you're a full-blown man. You're like a manly man.
Wow. What's the name of that movie?
It's The Lucky One.
The Lucky One. Okay, cool.
Yeah, it's one of those lovey-dovey kind of movies, but it was a good one.
Yeah. That's cool. Yeah, I've never actually heard of that one, but I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, I like girly movies. What can I say?
Nothing wrong with that.
And like my wife is all about the cheesy Christmas rom-coms.
God.
I really like the Hallmark ones. I really can't get into those. I really can't.
Me neither.
But other rom-coms, I'm okay with a lot of them. Like, I mean, I fucking love The Ugly Truth, but that's an R-rated rom-com.
Yeah. So I don't know if this one's listed as a comedy, but there was a movie with Keanu Reeves and Sandra Bullock called The Lake House.
I haven't seen that one. I've seen
God,
Speed.
I love Speed is a great movie. That's one of my favorites. But this movie, The Lake House, is one of the stupidest movies I've ever seen. You know, it's kind of set up as like a romantic type of thing. Basically, like Sandra Bullock and Keanu Reeves basically live in the same house on a lake, but at different times. And apparently, they can communicate with each other through the mailbox. It's like a time traveling mailbox. It's the dumbest thing I've ever seen. But like they make it look all cutesy and everything. But I'm like, it's a fucking mailbox. Like, you know, what, you write a letter, you put it in the mailbox, and then someone like 20 years ago can read it? Like, how? No.
Okay, I can suspend that disbelief, but it's like, what's the point of having a relationship like that? I mean, you're literally never going to see each other.
Literally.
Unless you can shove yourself into the mailbox.
Which I think will be funny as hell. You know,
I would pay to see that.
Me too. That's be a great spoof of that movie, you know.
Now, I can see Sandra Bullock possibly being stuffed into a mailbox, but not Keanu Reeves. Keanu Reeves is considerably bigger.
They could both do it.
Like that one scene in SpongeBob where he's hiding in the mailbox, like waiting for his mail, like screams at the mailman. Hi, mailman!
Probably scared the shit out of the mailman.
Oh, God, I'd pay to see that.
My favorite episode of SpongeBob is an episode called Sailor Mouth. It's where they discover sentence enhancers.
Yeah.
They discover the F word. And you have to figure it out just through the context of what's being bleeped.
Oh, shit. I'm having, like, all these, like, microphone stand problems tonight. Like, this thing was about to plummet to my desk now. All right. You gonna stay there? You gonna? Okay. I think my mic is gonna stay where it is now. So yeah, I mean that's kind of the gist of what I was thinking. You know, about what I wanted to sort of bring up about meds is just, you know, don't worry about what people might think, because really your mental health is your mental health, and you deserve to be happy, and you deserve to have control over your mental health. And it doesn't matter what anybody thinks. I mean, I know some people think the medication thing is taboo, but it's what's more important is how you feel. And
exactly.
You know, taking care of yourself. And that's another thing. I mean, you know, don't ever lose sight of that. You always deserve to take care of yourself and put yourself first. You know, and by putting yourself first and taking care of yourself, that you know, definitely means getting on, you know, if you need meds or anything, getting on the right meds and getting on the right cocktail, as I put it, you know, to help you feel like you again. Because I got to say, I mean, with the current bit of meds that I'm on right now, I feel like myself. And that's an amazing thing. It's an amazing thing to be able to say, because I remember when things were pretty dark, and I remember when things were not where I wanted them to be, and I didn't feel like myself. I felt like somebody else, because I wasn't in control of my emotions. I wasn't in control of, you know, everything else, and getting that control back, there's nothing like it.
Yeah, no, I agree 100% on that. For me, like I don't think I actually went into this story yet since I've been running this podcast. I initially went for anger management because the way that my depression worked out is that I acted very, very angry. Like, holy shit, that was my expression. So I went to a LCSW, licensed clinical social worker, and I was being treated initially for anger management, and it turned out that after a while, he's like, I don't think you're angry. I think you're depressed, and you're angry that you're depressed. So then we tried Paxil. Initially, it worked amazing. Like, how can I put it? I used to like to get stoned a lot.
Okay.
I used to like to smoke weed a lot. Well, I got the body high and the mental, like the mental clarity that sometimes comes with being stoned before you actually get like really stoned.
Yeah.
I got the body effects without actually losing my cognitive ability. And I was like, holy shit, is this what normal feels like?
That's amazing.
I'm like, fuck yeah, I want this. Unfortunately, Paxil had this one side effect on me that slowly went away. And I slowly started becoming more and more emotionless.
Oh, interesting.
Feeling nothing. I emotionally flatlined. I got to the point where I couldn't get angry. I couldn't get sad. I couldn't get happy. I couldn't feel anything.
Wow.
That is a very dangerous place to be. I started lashing out at people just to see if I could get them to react while pissed off at me, so that way I can feel something. Like if they're mad at me, maybe I'd feel something. No. So yeah, that's one thing you got to watch out for too. If your med seems to work too well, it's probably because it is working too well, and it will come back to bite you in the ass. Yes,
100%. That was, I like Effexor was the exact opposite of that. It worked and then just stopped. But I want to say it was Vibrid. When I was on Vibrid,
every time you say that, I think you're going to say vibrator. I swear to God.
I know. It did nothing, and that was it was crazy because these medications take a while to you got to build them up in your system. So
the side effects are instant. That's the scary thing.
The side effects are instant, but the benefits sometimes will take a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks before you start to really feel it, and
some of them can even take up to 2 months before you get the full effect.
Oh God, yeah, no, thanks.
You'll feel it after 3 or 4 weeks, but you won't feel it in its full effect for 2 months.
Right.
But those side effects, oh yeah, you'll fucking feel it within an hour. Oh, you'll fucking feel them.
Oh yeah.
And don't get me wrong, not all the meds. Every med has the potential for side effects. That doesn't mean that you will have side effects. But if you're going to have them, you're going to know right away. You'll have no doubts about it. And in some cases, like for me with Cymbalta, I had side effects initially, and they went away.
Yeah.
And that's a good thing.
Yeah.
The side effects started to subside, and the benefits started to grow. That was awesome.
Yeah, I'm starting to see some of my effects going away. So with one of my meds, so I think I'm going to talk next time I meet with my provider. I'm going to talk to her and just see if we can make another tweak or put me on something else. I'll take 50 pills a day. I don't care. I mean, hopefully not 50, but I will take whatever I need to take to feel like myself. And I've seen how great medication can be and how great it can be when it's used correctly and used regularly. And I wish that for all of you guys listening, you guys and gals listening to this, don't rule out medication. Talk to your doctor, talk to your medication provider, your, therapist or anything,
And I know for a lot of people, their biggest fear is losing themselves.
Right.
If you have the right meds, you're not going to lose yourself. You're going to gain a better version of yourself. Probably a version of yourself that you miss.
Yes, exactly. And honestly, if you feel like you're losing yourself, talk about it.
Yeah, if you're losing yourself, you're probably, you may not be on the right med, or it may just be a side effect. Right.
You know, because it's amazing. Every time I talk to my medication provider, she's always asking how things are going. I mean, like we have monthly phone calls, and the last time I talked to her, I was like, yeah, everything's fine. But I've had some things happen this past couple of weeks that also I've been dealing with some. Like I was in a car accident towards the end of January, so that's really messed with me, and that's a topic for another day. But that really messed with me. I had trouble sleeping a couple nights, and I thought it had to do with my medication. But then the last couple nights I felt great when I went to bed and woke up the next day. So that's not necessarily something I'm going to raise a concern about. But if maybe after this month's meeting with her, if something changes, or if I have a couple of nights where I can't sleep at all, then I'm going to say, hey, my sleep is affected. Something's not right. And then we're going to look at what's there. She'll say, okay, we're going to try lower this dose. We're going to up this dose, maybe add this med, whatever. It's a process. Like you kind of, when you're going to start taking meds, if you're not taking them already, you're kind of going to have to just resign yourself and be okay with being somewhat of a guinea pig.
Right.
Because there are so many different medications out there, your doctors or your providers literally going to just kind of think out of thin air. Like, okay, what have I prescribed to my patients? What dosage would be right for will this be the right thing? They may give you a med that won't work. They may give you a med that'll work too well. They may give you the perfect med, but you have to trust the process, and be patient because, even if it doesn't make a big difference right away or in a week or 2 weeks, you'll get there. You'll definitely get there. It's just a matter of giving it a chance and giving the process a chance.
Exactly. I mean, it's not an exact science. The only way that they could ever find out exactly how your brain chemistry is off, they would have to biopsy your brain.
Exactly.
Yeah, and that shit, no.
So I can imagine people not wanting to go through with that. I would.
Yeah, it's kind of like, there's, I can't remember the name of the test for what disease or illness, but it requires taking a sample of your tailbone to test.
Oh.
Yeah,
the heck is that?
That.
Ouch.
I would rather die. No, honestly, if it was, I can't remember what it was. I can't remember which disease it was, but it requires biopsying a sample of the tailbone. Yeah, there's not enough painkiller in the world for that.
No, and that just doesn't sound pleasant at all. Because I've heard that, I would imagine taking a piece of your tailbone is a somewhat invasive procedure, but I've even heard people... I've heard people getting like spinal taps where they get like, spinal fluid drained from there. And I've heard that's very painful. I've never had it done myself.
No, so the difference between an epidural and a spinal is how deep the needle goes.
Oof.
The epidural is supposed to go right in that sac that holds your spinal fluid. Spinal is they go through the sac.
Oh.
And we're talking millimeter difference. And you leak even a little bit of spinal fluid, you will have the most painful migraine of your life.
Oh my gosh, I can't imagine. I cannot imagine what that feels like.
Yeah, so when your anesthesiologist comes to give you an epidural, like if you're giving birth, I'm sure you don't have to worry about this, JB, but
I'm thinking,
you better hope that they don't sneeze while they're doing it, and you better not twitch.
Yeah, no kidding. Oh my gosh, man.
But I mean, getting that tailbone sample, someone explained it, and in great detail because they went through it.
Yeah.
And I was super uncomfortable listening to it. The best way I could describe it myself is it sounds like getting an enema, but going through your nose and working the way down.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. Quite uncomfortable.
Yeah. That's,
Like-
I mean, I'm kind of imagining that, and I'm just like, whoa.
Well, think of a crochet hook into your spine. That was another way of describing it.
Oh, yeah.
And then twisting.
Whoa. Oh, my gosh.
And they had to do the tailbone because there's no spinal fluid there.
Okay.
Yeah.
To anyone that's gone through that, you have my respect.
Yeah.
Right.
You know what? I'm going to see if I can find it here really fast. Not tailbone disorders. Yeah, I'm not finding it. They're just talking about if you have tailbone disorders. I'm like, no. It's a test. I can't remember what it was. And they may not even do that test anymore. You know, like this was back in like the late 90s when it was talked about. So, I mean, it's just amazing just how much has changed.
Yeah.
Medically and just in my lifetime.
Yeah. I mean, modern medicine has come so far, and my mother was a doctor. So, I mean, I kind of have been around the, medical field for many years, but it's just so amazing to see how much innovation has come from, procedures, techniques, even just and medicines,
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, I've talked about it in an episode before about my son with his CRMS, cystic fibrosis related metabolic syndrome.
Oh, wow.
He inherited the gene for cystic fibrosis from my wife, and he got a malformed protein from me that they will eventually interact and cause him to develop full-blown cystic fibrosis.
Oh, no.
When he was born, his life expectancy was 40 years. By the time he was 2, his life expectancy was 80.
Wow.
That's how fast sometimes things can develop.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
That is fucking incredible. And before that, in a 40-year period, they went from 20 to 40.
Wow.
6 months every year on average of increasing life expectancy. And that's fast in its own right. But then to go from 40 to 80 in 2 years?
That's incredible. And I
that's
actually
largely due to the Human Genome Project.
Yeah. Somebody actually shared to Facebook a few days. Apparently they have stumbled upon a cure for HIV. So it was listed as like they stumbled upon it. They kind of accidentally may have cured someone's HIV. So, I mean, that's something near and dear to, many people that I know. And
Same.
I know people that have HIV and they have it under control, and thank goodness. And thankfully, meds that are available right now for HIV can help them to not even be able to transmit it during sex, which is amazing. But
I know. I mean, think about it. In the 80s.
Definitely.
In the 80s it was a death sentence.
it was an epidemic. It was its own, I guess, pandemic or epidemic, whatever. The HIV/AIDS thing was a huge deal.
And the biggest problem was that you couldn't detect it for 6 months to a year.
Right. Until after it was too late.
Yeah, but you could spread it. You just couldn't detect it.
Right.
It was unreal, and it was literally a death sentence. You got HIV, you were going to develop AIDS, you were going to die. Now, you could be born with HIV, never develop AIDS, and live and die of old age, have family, and never spread it. That is amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I've always been amazingly grateful and respectful to the people in the medical profession, but I mean, no one likes going to the doctor, but there's a little part of me that does kind of like going to the doctor because it's just cool to, to see how well they can help you with the newest techniques and meds and procedures that are out there. And I mean, who wants to get naked and squat and cough or whatever, but some things you gotta do.
I ain't gonna kink shame, but that's my kink. No,
I mean, hey, I get, full disclosure, I don't care. Like, I get testosterone shots every Saturday. I got to expose one of my buttocks every Saturday, but like, I don't care because it means that I have better testosterone. I feel better as a man and all that stuff. So it's like, that's fine. I don't care. You know, as long as it's going to help me in the long run. And it's been amazing. I mean, was something like this available 10, 15, 20, 30 years ago? Who knows? But it's available now, and I love that. And, you know, there's so many medications and things available for, you know, you guys to try if you need it, but talk to your provider, talk to your doctor, or anybody, you know, who's going to know a heck of a lot more about those individual things than we do. But, you know, meds are a wonderful thing. Don't let anybody dissuade you. Do what the right thing is for you. And, you know, you can only benefit from it. You know, you can only benefit from it.
Right. And I mean, and if your doctor thinks that meds aren't right for you, okay. They'll tell you. And if you're not sure, you know, there's this thing called a second opinion.
Exactly. And like when I started, my general practitioner was the one that prescribed, my therapist is the one who told me which one to try. So, you know, he said, hey, I've heard Lexapro is really good. You know, he's obviously not he doesn't have the ability to prescribe it. He said, talk to your doctor, see what she's willing to do. But he said Lexapro would be a good way to start. I got on that. Things went, you know, and the rest was history.
Yep. And if you can, and if both sides are willing, you know, sign HIPAA forms, let your GP share information with your psychologist or psychiatrist and vice versa.
Yes, that was another.
It only helps.
It really does. It really does. 100,000%.
Yeah, so I mean, if your doctors know what you're taking, it's not going to hurt. It is just not going to hurt.
Right.
And it's not like they're both going to talk about it with other people. You know, you've got the safety of your information is protected, but
right.
You know,
and it's not like they're going to sit there and make jokes about it either. I mean, dear God. I mean, there's some insensitive pricks out there, but I would be.
This thing literally just fell. All right. Can you hear me still? Hello?
What's happening to the audio?
I don't know. You can still hear me, right?
I can hear you, yeah, but the audio, I think for E, it's really messed up.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
No.
My stand that my microphone was on literally just fell off my desk. You sound like a robot. It's crazy.
You do.
Okay, that's pretty funny, but what do you want to do?
Huh. I'm not too sure.
Should we wrap it up, you think?
I don't mind. I gotta admit though, that audio thing, like, it sounds insane.
It's like if Transformers were singing to each other, you know.
I can like kind of make out some words, but for the most part, it just sounds like auto-tuned gibberish.
Yeah, exactly. Or it sounds like blenders having sex, you know.
Yes, exactly.
So, can you hear us? Maybe type in the chat. You want to, you know, is there something you say to end these things? Should we just kind of wrap it up, or are you going to reboot your machine? I mean, what do you want to do? What are you doing here? What do you want to do? What do you want to do?
We shall see.
This is the fun things that happens with live broadcasts, right?
Right. Wonder what's causing it.
Cat says, did he electrocute himself? I hope not. Giving himself electroshock therapy? You know, it's funny. This is an episode fraught with problems because my microphone stand kept failing on me, and now it just literally fell off the side of my desk because it was one of those like arms attached to my desk. So it fell off the side of my desk. I'm holding my microphone now, and now E's audio sounds like, you know, I don't know. It's like slow motion dubstep or something.
Yes, exactly that.
So it's kind of feeling like this is probably a good place to wind up, right?
I would think so. Unless the audio issue could be fixed, but I don't know what's really causing it.
Yeah.
Just kind of popped up out of nowhere.
Yeah, exactly. Chennai says it sounds like he's trying to incept our brains. That seems like something he would do anyway.
Subliminal messages through the
exactly.
audio.
Exactly. So I'm glad it's not just me, because when the mic stand fell, that's when he started having that audio issue, and I'm like, that's oddly coincidental. Hey, E, can you still hear us? Or how's the audio on your end? Can you still make out what we're saying, or do we sound all robotic too?
He said I'd restart my computer, but
yeah,
I just muted myself better. I don't hear any of the audio.
Yeah, no. I think this is probably a good place to call it an episode, right? I mean, I don't want to overstep any boundaries. I know this is your guys' show.
I'd say that's fine. I don't mind.
Yeah.
Figure whatever is causing this out, maybe, so it doesn't really happen again. Interesting.
Yeah,
very
it's
interesting.
Very
it's his computer. It's being a dick.
Oh, okay.
Just disable my audio completely better. I can't hear the noises anymore, but that's just me.
Yeah. I'm wondering if he turned his mic off.
Yeah, he just disabled his audio completely.
Well, if he disabled his audio, I can't even hear him anyway. Oh, okay. He says his core audio had a problem. Okay.
Yeah.
He has no ability to hear us. Okay.
Okay. Hold on then. I think.
So appreciate you guys hanging in. We're trying to figure out some technical issues right now with E's audio, but
yeah. All right.
Cool. Well, thanks everybody for tuning in that we're with the live stream. And looks like okay, E says there's going to be back on March 10th with the new season. This is the end of season 8. So I want to say thanks so much again for letting me be a part of this show. It was a pleasure to be here. It was great to hang with you guys, and thanks for letting me be here. And I hope hopefully everybody else gets something out of it. And please be sure to subscribe to this podcast, Am I Mental, on whatever podcast platform you use to get your podcasts.
Well, I want to say thank you for coming on. You were an amazing guest.
Oh, thank you.
It was good talking about medication, even if I didn't really talk about it myself. It was interesting hearing other people's stories. So
yeah,
I appreciate you coming on. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. And I look forward to hearing future episodes from you guys, and maybe be on again. Who knows?
Yeah, that'd be nice. But
cool.
Anyway,
so you guys have a great rest of your day.
Yes, I'm C, and I hope you guys are well. Take care, please.
Take care and be well. Oh, okay, I guess he's playing the outro. 15 seconds left.
Yes.
You may want to edit this. I mean, I don't know if Spreaker just automatically...